But yeah, it's good to actually interview us for the first time. It's been a long
Yeah.
time coming. Sorry
It
about
feels
that.
weird that that would be our first interview.
Uh,
Like, yeah, because
I
you've been very
suppose
good
it's
at
just
like covering and stuff, which has been
yeah,
very nice, very kind.
yeah,
Um,
no worries. But obviously, there's plenty to talk about just at the minute. Not least, brand new single, and I think I've already on record to saying it's one of your best songs you've ever written thus
yeah,
far.
thank you very much.
Thank you. So fantastic, and obviously there was a lot of build up to the album coming out, and then it was great. The album's excellent. But then it's like, well, what do they do next? And here you go with another brilliant tune. Like, so tell me a bit about like this one. It's sort of it was written for an RTE radio show. Is that right?
Yeah, it's like we were challenged to write about like Belfast, and we haven't, that's not something we've actually approached before, and
Hmm.
it seemed like a good time as any. And
Yeah,
to
I think before this, so RTE have like basically asked us to commission a song about Antrim for the county measure
Hmm.
show that they've done, where every county asks an artist to for every county they ask an artist from that county to write a song. And I suppose we'd kind of been like trying to steer away from talking about anything uh sort of Belfast related and Troubles related
Hmm.
when it comes to that kind of political punk, because we've kind of talked about stuff that um I don't know, there's just been a lot of other stuff we wanted to talk about as a band, and we've made a conscious effort to not talk about Belfast for a long time. But
Hmm.
I think when we were given it, we were like, we're only gonna say yes to this if it feels like something we would actually write, and something we would actually say, because we're not just gonna write and record a song for the crack. Like, it has to feel like something we would actually say.
Yeah.
Um, so, you know, then we kind of were talking about like, well, what would we have to say about this? Antrim's pretty broad. I mean, Bev's from Ballymena,
Hmm.
kind of, well, she's from Portland, and then me and Beth are from Belfast, and then Alana actually she moved here to choose to be in Belfast. So,
Uh-huh.
we kind of then related to like when a journalist had asked us, he didn't realize, but he had just kind of asked us like, well, if Belfast is so bad, why don't you just leave? And we were like, can't say that to someone about their hometown. So then we were like, well, why don't we leave? Why do we stay
Hmm.
here? And that's kind of where the song came from.
Yeah, oh no, it's brilliant. You were speaking there about, everyone in the band's from different places. So you've got four different perspectives on the same place. Alana, you have a little bit of a extra perspective coming from afar and choosing to be here. Oh, Akira's
yeah,
disappeared.
she drops out sometimes. This is very common occurrence for Kara's internet.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
I thought like this was the thing with that interview, was like I was laughing a lot because I chose to move here. You
yeah.
know, like he was like, "Why don't you leave?" It's like, I'm not from Belfast. I chose to move there. And I thought, I think it was quite fitting that yeah, we kind of end the line of verses with mine, because I was the person who like what had the kind of obviously the least knowledge when I did come here. I knew nothing about Belfast when I moved
Oh,
here.
really? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I had like very, very little kind of knowledge about the troubles and stuff, but it's just not taught. Like I am born in England, but I was raised in Canada.
Hmm.
And obviously Canada's never gonna really talk about that stuff, but
Yeah.
English schools, obviously, like, for reasons they don't touch upon
Yeah.
any Northern
Funny
Irish.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not in the curriculum at all, at least when I was in school. And so when I moved here, I've been learning as I go. Like I moved into West Belfast, like, predominantly Irish Catholic neighborhood, with the big flags everywhere. And then now I live on the Ormeau, where it's kind of like the other side of things. The Union Jacks are everywhere, and like had no idea about all the parades, and like
Yeah.
just learning. Hello, Kara.
We're talking
um,
about talking
yeah,
about
just like,
Belfast.
sorry.
I'm just saying, catching Kira up. We're talking
Oh
about
yeah,
Belfast.
yeah. I was just saying, I figured I'd speak about my bit for that point. But yeah, just like, I moved over from London as well, which was like a
Uh-huh.
very like busy, chaotic time in my life, and I needed to chill out. And like that's what the kind of opening line is about, that I was just trying to find somewhere to actually like um I hate the term like finding myself, but like I needed to put myself back together again
Yeah, yeah.
after a tumultuous few years in London, and like came to kind of like a seemingly quite sleepy town, but there was all this history I didn't know about. And, you know, again, I've been learning as I've been going, and like especially since being in problem patterns, been learning about kind of all sides of things and the history and things, and obviously the modern day occurrences as well. And just about like this was like I've said it in interviews before, but like Belfast is the first place I've lived. Like I've moved around a lot as a kid, and it's like the first place where I felt like I could actually like see a future for myself here instead of like running away somewhere else, you know?
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Fair play. Oh, can you put your finger on why you kind of feel so at home
I
here
don't,
or welcome?
I think the community aspect, like, it took me a long time to kind of feel like integrated into Belfast just because of like my own kind of social anxieties and stuff. And
Yeah.
took me a good like couple of years to like go and meet people. And
Yeah.
then I like,
Yeah.
did through kind of the music community, and I felt it was like immediately really warm and welcoming. Like I've, you know, I've like living in other cities and towns through my life, and you know, I've been kind of semi-involved in the music scene, but always kind of from like a wallflower perspective or like just like a fan perspective. And even when I
Yeah.
tried to do music, I didn't feel involved or supported. Whereas Belfast was make immediately supportive. Like they're immediately like, yeah, you can do that here actually.
Okay.
Like go give it a try. Like why not?
Okay. And maybe was there an extra dimension in the fact that you were an outsider coming in who'd chosen to come here, and because I think we're still a bit. I don't know what you think about this, Kira, but anytime you meet a tourist in Belfast, you're like, why are you in Belfast? Like, why Belfast? We still have that kind of mentality. So maybe
Yeah.
we embrace the people who come to us and make a choice to embrace us, maybe.
I
Yeah.
think that's it. It is the active like the mutual decision to embrace
Yeah.
each other.
Okay.
That I think makes Belfast so special. Like I think a lot of that's why a lot of tourists, like I, you know, meet tourists all the time, like through work and stuff and at
Mhm.
gigs and things like that. And like they just really like Belfast is a very like warm and welcoming city. I think maybe because of its like, you know, issues and things, and
Yeah.
because it's been perceived as this very dangerous city, when it's not, it's quite
Uh-huh.
like you know, it's a lovely little community all around. You just need to like meet the right people.
Yeah. Well, you've certainly done that. And Kira, so from your perspective, you're a lifelong Belfast native, like myself. Well, I was born in Edinburgh actually, but basically lived here since I was about 6 weeks old. So
Yeah.
I've been claimed by Belfast. But why do we stay here? I have my own reasons, but what's kept you here?
I think it's very similar to Alana. I've always like whenever I don't know, when I've thought about like would I ever want to live anywhere else and stuff, obviously you get to a certain age in your life when you start thinking about that stuff. And
Mhm.
every single time I go somewhere else, I just never feel that connection that I have with people here. I think we do because we've had such a bad history and bad publicity and so much pain has happened to the country. You I think I do want to stay here and be part of like why it should be better. I love how small and peaceful it is. It's like you really do know people here and everybody makes an effort, and even though historically, there's divides and stuff, they're they are leaving. Those divides are sort of breaking away, and
Uh-huh.
from even in the last like nearly 30 years of my life or whatever, like I can feel those divides like dissolving away, and it's nice. And I just want to stay here and sort of make the place better. I love the people here. I love the crack that we have. I think like our art scene is so special, and it's an intellectual place, and it's just really cool. And every time I go to a different city, it's just so massive and horrible.
Yeah. I think
You
that's
get
is
you get spoiled here, like it's so tiny and everything's really accessible and
Uh-huh.
That's
yeah.
it. It's the accessibility thing because like you know, when I was in my early 20s, I moved to London thinking that was the be all end all. It had everything there, you know, every kind of music you could think of. And I just got there and I was like overwhelmed and
Uh-huh.
broke and
Uh-huh.
exhausted. And you couldn't like, you know, there's a pretty good like it's there's pockets of DIY scenes who are trying,
Yeah.
but it's then impossible to get to them because you're working 50 hours a week or they're like across the city and take a 2 hour train. So
Yeah.
it's like you have to really be localized to like specific areas in London, and it's just very like you're just wiped out, you're burnt out all the time. Whereas Belfast, it's like being a smaller community, you can just kind of, you make a bigger splash in a smaller puddle kind of thing. Like, you know, it's
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely it. I think if you're in a halfway decent band in Belfast, you've got a much better chance of being noticed and making a bit of headway. And also the fact that we're still a bit removed from England, Scotland, Wales, and even Dublin. Like you've got time to kind of find yourself here a bit more, and before you kind of go put yourself about the place. Of course, you kind of got going very, very quickly, and it hasn't. That seems to work for you as well. So I mean,
Yeah.
there's more than one way to do it. Like, but it does seem like a band like yourselves. I mean, you really are quite a Belfast band in a way, because four of you met here, and you're all writing about your experiences here. So you are a local band in the best sense. Now going further afield, which is great. I mean, you've been on a couple of tours there recently. It sounds like maybe the rest of the UK you've experienced so far hasn't really floated your boat as much as our town, perhaps.
yeah, I think like we anytime we go to London, it's just like the gigs are always fun. Like we always have a great
Yeah.
time. Like, our friends come out and things, but the actual experience of like going to the gig in London is usually a nightmare. Like we always have an issue with the airport or like driving in or getting like stuck somewhere and just like trying to be like, where do we go for dinner? And like looking up something where again, that's one of those cities that should have an option for everything. And then we end up at somewhere that's like stinking.
Yeah, yeah,
I think because like we actually like we love going to England, Scotland. We've been to Wales once and even the rest of Ireland and stuff. But because like we're such a DIY band, like everything we do is on a thread. And
mhm,
so by the time we get out to England, the sort of way that we're navigating it is like as bare bones as we can. So like we actually do love it and the shows are class and it's so lovely to like meet people out there, but so much more hectic because driving around England took so much longer than you could get to the top and bottom of Ireland, do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I think that's it. Is like a lot of people, they really overestimate what we're able to do as a DIY band, like in terms of touring, in terms of
Yeah,
getting over there. Like we get gig offers to play Manchester or something where they're like, can you do this for £50 and bring backline? It's like we're trying to
yeah.
like go on that cheap EasyJet flight.
Hiya, Bev. How are you doing?
I have Beth.
Hi, I'm okay. I'm so sorry. Time got away from me.
all right, you got your new glasses though.
I got my new glasses and I'm in my pink boiler suit because I've been painting the house.
Very
Class.
That's
nice.
time goes like that when you're painting. I don't
Yeah.
know what time is.
It's very zen. Get the roller going and just zone out, chill
Yeah.
out. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
We were talking about the single earlier before you joined, and
Mm.
just about the different perspectives you were offering on living here, but within the song, I love your line. It didn't come down the barn in a bubble. Uh, Fantastic. Just what were your thoughts about your contribution to the song? Did that come easy to you, to what you wanted to say about growing up in the DUP heartland and all that?
Yeah, I grew up in Mid-Antrim, like Portglenone and Ballymena. So I think like I've changed where I vote now, but when I moved up to Belfast for a long time, I held on to my old address just so I could still vote there
Hmm.
because like yeah, the voting situation there is really disheartening. So seeing so many people just like vote out of fear, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to call out that sort of mid-Antrim experience of
Okay.
like growing up somewhere where yeah, when the poll results come out, you kind of feel a bit isolated. But at the same time, like day-to-day life, like people are lovely and they just don't know. They're just so like afraid of like the other side and about like
Hmm.
new like diverse people.
Yeah.
And yeah, the places are incredible too. Uh, um like I love a good hike and like a stroll along the beach. I sound like I'm like a Lonely Hearts band. But yeah, I guess, yeah, like once we decided what we were like responding to, it flew out quite easy. Like I wrote it on the plane with Kira.
Yeah, we
Okay.
both wrote our verses on the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Excellent.
like Beth and I got our verses done quite quickly after that. I think once you're kind of like set, like once the ideas are going, it did just kind of fall out of us pretty
Yeah.
easy.
Then once I read your verses, I was like, oh, mine's shit, I'm gonna rewrite it. So that was my issue as well.
Does
Yeah,
that
Very
often
like
happen? Where you're kind of
mild
like,
competitive aspect to not have a really bad verse.
well, that's for the greater good, isn't it? For the good of the song, for the good of the you
Yeah,
want
it's about keeping the quality, like, you know,
We also,
consistent.
because like all four of us were doing a verse, we've likened it to like the Final Four challenge in RuPaul's Drag Race. And all four final queens have to write a verse. So that is
Okay.
the challenge. So,
Yeah.
you know, you have to have the best verse. So I think
Well,
that's where Kira's competitive thing was coming in.
Yeah.
She'd be
It
well,
was
the
more like that mine's hit the quality that yours did, because I was like, oh God, yours all are class. I have mine's
uh,
also have to be.
well, that
Um,
implies there has to be a winner though. So surely it's a four-way
we're
tie.
all the winner here.
four-way
yeah.
tie.
I don't think that's ever
Four-way
happened on Drag
crowning.
Race. I don't think it's ever happened.
No, but it's happened in Problem Planners Drag Race. We all
Happy,
win.
happy days, happy days.
But we did record it all in the same room, like whilst like looking at each other. So it was like
Yeah.
one and then one and then one. So and we were like for each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
So it was quite
That's some
nice.
good choreography.
Class, class. Yeah, well, I mean, you'll be back over to England in a couple of weeks for Glastonbury, which is, I guess, is the biggest show you're going to play thus far over there.
By like a long shot, yeah.
Yeah,
Before it was last year when we did La Tigra, and that was 2000, I think, was the bigger one. Whereas this is the park stage, and I don't even want to, I don't even want to think about the number of people that'll be in that audience.
yeah. Plus, well, I'm hoping that it'll be available via the magic red button on the BBC. Fingers crossed.
It's definitely going out. I don't know. I'll let you know after this whether you can say this or not. But BBC Radio 6 are broadcasting it live.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
So I think,
At the very least, the radio.
Okay, brilliant,
at
brilliant.
least
And
video, I'm not
I
sure
think
about video.
you're first on that day on the Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
rise and shine campers and
I know.
Yeah. That's what happened to us a few weeks ago at Bearded Theory. We were the first on at the Sunday one as well. And we like when we were sound checking, we had to do, you know, it was more of a line check where we were there at 11 a.m. Checking, and then we were like, well, people are still sleeping. Like you could see the whole like kind of festival area, and there was like no one around, and we're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I guess this will be fine. It'll be fun. We'll enjoy the day. And then we came out, and it was actually quite packed. So they just do
Okay.
appear.
Excellent.
So I think, I mean, with a festival like Glasgow, there's so many people that I'm actually not too worried about people showing up for once. So that's quite nice.
Yeah, yeah. And lots of people don't go to bed at all, so you'll probably have people here just rolling over
Yeah.
from the previous day. Do you get to go the whole weekend yourselves, or what way does it work? Because there's obviously lots of bands you probably would like to check out yourselves.
Yeah, we've been given like a full pass for the whole weekend. So we've rented a minibus and we're just gonna go. I know we're down to see Shania Twain as a band and Sugar Babes. There's so many.
Yeah,
I really want to see Squeeze. They're on Friday morning.
Yeah, it's
that's
one of those ones where you keep looking at the poster and finding someone else that you really want to see, which is really
Yeah.
quite overwhelming as well. Because I mean, it is the biggest festival in the world. Like, you know, even like non-music friends of mine in Canada know Glastonbury. Like, you know,
Mhm.
Shania is playing it, so they know.
Yeah,
Like Avril's gonna
yeah,
be there. Like, you know, all the
yeah. That's
Canadian
right. Yeah, yeah,
top hitters, they will be
yeah.
there. I think that's like, it's quite funny because like, you know, you've got like I've got family in England as well, and obviously friends here who are like measuring it different ways. But the Canadians in Canada, they're like, Alana's playing a festival, Shania. Like, you know,
Yeah, fair
that's
play.
funny.
I mean, I'm not a fan of her music particularly, but she's a badass. Like
She is.
she's had some life. Um, yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's a good way to kind of make more of an impact on the mainstream quote unquote because Glastonbury
Gen
has
pop.
that kind of cachet where it attracts such not just people who might go to a DIY punk gig, but it's like just checking out what's whatever's on and available, either if they're there or via the BBC or whatever. So it's a great platform for us. Have you got the set worked out thus far, or is that to be
I
decided?
think like it was like basically like almost a run through at Bearded Theory, because that was quite a big stage. So they had a clock at the side, which I imagine they'll also have at Glasgow.
Okay, right. Okay.
And there's an orange light, which means this is your last song, and a red light, which means you're done. And thankfully we didn't hit either light, but having that clock there really helped us, because we have the, we all have the tendency to kind of ramble a bit between sets, especially if we're doing a headline slot, as you've probably seen, as we love a chat on stage, especially if something's going a bit wild. So having that clock there, I was like, all right, short intro for this one, let's get into it. And then we didn't even hit the orange lights, so I think we've got that half an hour down. I think we might actually have to play a bit longer at Park Stage, so hopefully there's a clock, and that will keep us good, keep us right.
Okay, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. How's your leg, Alana? I saw you at Cherry Glazer and you were coping pretty well, but it didn't sound like the most fun injury to perform with.
It's still so bad, I can't lie.
Oh, really?
I keep having days where I think I can go without the brace, and then I get home and I'm like, that was bad. I shouldn't have gone without the brace. And like,
okay,
it was just a very silly like pre-gig thing in London where we were just loading in and I fell. And that was it. Like, it wasn't even like, we throw ourselves around the stage all the time. Oh, there's Beth. We throw ourselves around the stage all the time, and I've managed to avoid any serious injury. But I mean, hopefully by Glasgow it'll be fine. But I've never had an adult like proper sprain like that before, so just been
Okay, well, hopefully you're well on the way to being healed up.
What have you been chatting about?
Well, we were just talking about gig injuries there, although Alana's really is like a pre-gig injury, I guess, technically. Bev, have you had any on-stage prop falls or injuries?
Oh, yeah. Were they telling you about my huge bruise on my knee?
No.
I fell over like in the pit in Manchester, and someone like immediately picked me up, and it was great. But I had like a huge all around my knee bruise.
Oh, nice.
For ages, and it's only starting to heal up now, and I still have like a weird lump. So that's exciting.
Big scars.
Bev likes to jump down off any stage, no matter what size it is, no matter what the situation. And then sometimes struggles to get back up on the stage, which is quite funny. So she just like belly flops onto the stage and tries her best.
Like
they're not
like
necessarily injuries, but they must hurt.
Yeah. I'd say so, but I mean,
I roller skate, so I'm like used to bruises and stuff. So
well, maybe you could pad up them before you get on stage.
Or off stage. Well, I used to play roller derby, so my pads are actually huge though. So maybe I'll have to invest in some smaller stage ones.
Stage pads. But I guess getting into the crowd, that is such a big part of the normal Problem Pattern show. And with festivals the way they are, I mean, every year I watch the festivals on TV, or even when I go to festivals here, the gap between the stage and the audience gets bigger and bigger. The barriers get higher. It's it's harder and harder to get actually access to the crowd. Like, so I mean, what was Bearded Theory like? I guess maybe it wasn't quite as severe.
Yeah, no, she made it. Like, she jumped right down, and it's a huge big drop, and she just goes. And we've got used to it now. We're like, at the start we used to panic, and we're like, look, she's gonna go, and she just jumped over the barrier. Was it at La Tigra when you did like the full or no, it was the OES Center, they had a barrier up and you went over backwards.
Oh yeah, you fell backwards,
She went right over the whole barrier.
I did a front flip over the barrier, which was hilarious, but my legs like stayed in the air for like maybe a second too long. Everybody was like, what's going on? And then I recovered it, but
was this with guitar?
No, I thankfully not.
Letter of resignation.
Not with the guitar.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good.
I didn't even see Beth go off the stage at Bearded Theory. I just I was playing and turned around and I was like, oh. And then I saw her coming back on.
Yeah.
Because at La Tigra shows, our tour manager Brendy had kind of given security a heads up, whereas he wasn't with us for Bearded Theory. So we just forgot. So security were like, oh God. Like, just like, where did you go?
Well, let's see.
David, it's not something I think about beforehand. It's maybe planned, like maybe 5 seconds in advance.
Uh-huh. Are you sizing up the crowd for that 5 seconds? I think I'll trust them here and
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I'm like, would they accept me?
I think I've seen you do it even when you're definitely sure that the crowd won't like it.
Yeah, true.
Or
I'm
so.
like that crowd's not gonna like that, and in you go, and I really respect it every time.
Yeah,
Thanks.
confrontational. That's the
Yeah.
way to be. Well, let's see at Glastonbury. Let's see if you can get all the way to the back of the tent and back to the stage. That'll
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
a mission. Like I've seen it happen with other bands, so it's doable, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I could try and like get to the whole other side of the festival and back.
Yeah, see
It's
another
not that
band.
big, is it, David? It's not that
Well,
big a festival.
I mean,
We'll just keep playing until you come back.
yeah, just an extended jam in the middle, like.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll be playing the new single at Glastonbury and announcing it as this is our new single. Please go.
No,
Alright.
we're not taking that risk. We've only played that song like 5 times.
Yeah, I think because it's really only in 2.5 weeks and we just do
Yeah.
not have the time to go
Oh.
over it. So we want to like keep our tight set that we already
I
have
think
played a bunch.
debuting it at customized
Square.
square while supporting Stiff Little Fingers also feels like a nice sort of
Full circle.
time to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that will be fantastic. I mean, that's a huge hometown gig for you. How are you feeling about that? I mean, the Damned are playing as well. One of my favorite bands,
Yeah,
SLF Legends, and you've basically written the sequel to Alternative Ulster. So yeah, it's pretty good place to debut it. Like,
Yeah, I
Doing good.
think that'll be a cute time because I think like we could have played it at Glasgow, but I don't think anyone will. I think we'd rather just play like a set we know will go down well and then focus on debuting it at Customized Square. But
Belfast.
like playing with
Sounds
the
good.
Damned and Stiff Little Fingers is pretty insane. They're hugely legendary, so I think that'll be our like apart from Glasgow and stuff, like that'll be our
Yeah.
next biggest show because it's huge and like there's something about playing just into the Belfast city centre that's so bizarre.
Yeah,
A lot
yeah.
of people just like walking around and we're just playing into the middle of the square seems so bizarre.
I
No,
think
I
it's a
can't
good
believe
fit
it.
as well, like
Mhm.
having, that song about Belfast, and it'll be out for a little while at that point. Hopefully some people might know it, they might not, but I think it'll just be a very feel-good feeling to be able to perform that song for the first time to Belfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's our gift to Belfast, basically.
Any choreography planned for Derry on Friday? You're playing up there. This is your rescheduled date, I think.
Saturday?
Saturday? Yes, sorry. I'll
Are
get
you
that right.
challenging us to come up with some choreography because we will?
I mean, you seem to respond to these things quite well. So yeah, that's
We
awesome.
do.
Like a challenge.
Yeah, the best way to get us to do something is to just basically say we should and then we'll do it.
Okay.
I had
Yeah.
like jokingly, well, semi-jokingly, like done like choreography for Who Do We Not Save, and Beth's now wife was like, I hate that, never do that again.
Oh,
Yikes.
look,
What was
she says
it?
it how it is.
No,
Yeah, that's
I'm
harsh
not gonna
review.
do it, but it was just like kind of a joking for the chorus bit. And she was like, no. I'm like, okay. I trust her opinion, to be fair.
Well, I mean,
And
she's not
does
going to
get
be
the final say.
she's not going to be there on Friday, right? So you've got freedom to kind of.
What if
post
I
it
do? What
out
if
of the
I
bag.
bring it out?
Yeah.
I think I think we saw a band called Melon Melon at Bearded Theory
hmm
and they all like hold their guitars and then they all go at the same time and it's really, really good. Like it's
Okay.
so maybe we'll release our like inner Melon Melon and just move exactly the same time.
I guess
Excellent.
we did a
Yeah.
bit of that when we did advertising services, but we've
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
My dream for the band is for us to move completely in unison at all times.
even Beth.
Dress identically, move identically, and then obviously you put that diversity of voice and
Yeah.
that make sure you maintain your individual identities within the band identity, I suppose. A bit like Devo.
No, there's no point in having individual identities. Like, why can't we just have one big one?
Okay.
We could just be like Blue, and just be called like, Alana from Problem Patterns, like
Yeah.
instead of my normal name. Like my last name can just go. I can just be Duncan from Blue.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Alana problem patterns, Beth problem patterns, Kira problem patterns. That works. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm up for
Uh,
it. We have got one brain at the minute because we spend so much time together. It started to become like quite insular, and so we have the same thoughts all the time, and we think and say the same things all the time. It's
mhm.
actually quite strange.
Yeah, I mean, this is the fascinating thing. Well, not really fascinating, but it's interesting that you know you started off when you formed the band, you didn't all really know each other that well, and now you're kind of like best mates, life partners, for
Yeah.
a better term.
Yeah.
And that is not only you find friendship, but also it's creatively inspiring as well. You seem to really spark off each other really well, which a lot of other bands would obviously be jealous of, because it's not always the case. I'm sure you've all been in other musical projects where that hasn't happened, so it's
Yeah.
never a rare situation.
I can see why spending so much time with someone, either you would like become obsessed with them and get hard eyes for them, or you could be like, this person's a melt. But I think we're just very lucky that
Yeah.
we are just fine. I think we're each other's biggest fans in like the cheesiest way possible. But I see you see something, I'm like, oh, that's great.
I think it helps us a lot, like just the dynamic of our band and the fact that we don't have a front person, because
Yeah.
like it's like, your ego can't get too big, basically. Like even if there's any notion, someone else will be like, shut up. But like, you can't, like, it's not one person out front getting all the praise. It's everyone's getting an equal cut of the pie kind of thing.
We were touched on this a wee bit about being a totally DIY band. Do you have a tour manager with Brandy when he goes out on the road with you and stuff? But basically, you don't have a manager or anything at the minute. You're just
No, we don't have a booking agent. We book everything ourselves. We don't have a manager. All that stuff's done. We have Alcopop, who
Mhm.
put out the album, and they do some PR for us, which has been really great. Yeah, even with Brendy, like that's only on the odd tour when we can really afford him, and that's like when we do the really big thing. Like we really wanted him for Glasgow, and he's not able to because he's busy with his normal job, which is acceptable.
Yeah,
Like he's getting big money that way. So
you guys
like
all have to
otherwise
take
we
time
just do it
off
ourselves.
from work. You all have to work jobs and stuff, do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And like Kara and I, like especially, we work in cafes, so we work weekends a lot. So it's a lot. It's a
That's
lot
tough.
of
Yeah.
sorry. Like I had to send like as soon as we got the Glasto slot, we were texting our bosses being like, hi, sorry.
Yeah.
We have to.
Hopefully at this stage they're all fans of problem patterns and are like, yes, go. You must go and do these gigs.
Yeah, it would be a lot
it's a
harder if we were
must.
shite.
Like
We've got the album at both our cafes. Like they were both like all our bosses. Like we've got different bosses, but they were like,
Mhm.
put the album in the cafe. So they're very supportive. It's very nice.
Class. Well, listen, I think we're going to get cut off here very shortly. So it's been great to finally talk to you.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll meet in person one day. I'll try not to be shy and come and say hello next time.
oh,
Well,
But
thank you so much for having us.
no worries. Have a great gig in Derry and at Glasgow. If I don't see you, go and smash it. It's been
Thank